Morning all, back on this job again. The nice garden, but lots going on, plastering, painting, woodwork. So first thing I want to do this morning is give the radiator a coat of paint. Let me turn you around and show you what that was for anyone that didn't see it. So it was this radiator. They just asked me to give it a quick paint up, but it needed a bit more than that. So I've bought a couple of tins of this stuff. We'll see how this performs. Radiator white, pro coat, tough industrial paint, heat resistant, excellent durability. So I bought 3 cans of that because I want to give it a bit of a soak in. So I'm going to get on with that. First of all, I'll drop a bit of protection down behind the radiator. So I've got a tin of this, like I said earlier, and I've also got one of these. They just clip round there like that, I think. It turns it into like a little handheld sprayer. So let's give this a good shake up. Right, let's give this a test with a little sprayer. Oh, nice, a bit more control with that. It's only cheap. I don't know where I got it from. I suppose you can get them anywhere. Right, so let's have a look at this. So this all had a bit of a scrape off and a sand off yesterday, but I didn't go too bad. So stink, let's open the door. Right. So radiators have all been sprayed. I'm going to attempt to get these skirtings back on now. Anyone that's been watching this little run of videos on this job will know that it was damp all along here, and the skirtings were damp at the bottom, and the customers have just asked me just to sort of tidy it up. They're not gone too mad on it all. They had this damp proofed years ago, but I think they just want it freshened up and don't want too much fuss. So obviously I took the old skirtings off, and we're left with, there was already this sort of void behind here, and all the skirtings were a bit wrong. I don't know what this is here. I think it's like looks like an old chipboard that's on the floor or something, yeah. But anyway, so I'm going to get the skirtings on, and the plan is to use some foam behind, just to take the depth, the width out of these skirtings. I don't want to put anything on there. I didn't want to make it in like sand and cement or like a base coat of any sort. I didn't want anything that could potentially draw moisture up through there again. So skirtings are quite high, they'll come up to there. So obviously we'll stick them up the top there with normal sort of panel adhesive. And then we're going to put some foam in along here. So I've just hoovered all this out and gave it a brush. I'll give it a little dampen down before the foam goes on. And we'll see what happens there. So let's get up and get out there and set up the miter saw ready for this skirting. Okay, this end's already been cut out as a scribe, so I'm hoping this will just slit into there. If not, I'll just nibble it off a bit. But right, let's get this in here. Oh yeah, that's all right. Look, that'll be all right. I think just a little bit of persuasion there. Yeah, bit of persuasion, bit of filler. We'll get in there. That's good. We'll get in there. That's good. And it's fairly long, so I've just cut it as obviously a mitre, a 45 at the other end, so I can join a bit on. But that looks like it's going to lay nice and flat there. I do like the MDF skirting as opposed to the pine skirting. It just lays a lot flatter on the wall, really. This wall has got a bend in it as it goes halfway down there, and with the MDF it seems to just sort of slap across and stay, so that's good. So let's sort out this mitre. Let's just get a little Stanley knife and just nibble this original one off. Yeah, that'll go. That's it. Right, so let's get some adhesive and some foam and we'll go for it. So that's what I'm going to be using to stick all this. So I'm going to put some of this foam adhesive in the big bits down the bottom, normal adhesive which is going to go on the top of the skirting to slap against the flat wall, and then I'll be using the mitre bond to join the second bit on. Right, I've just dampened the bottom of that wall down just to let that foam stick to it and cure a bit better, so just letting that water dry in a bit. And as any good tradesperson knows, while you're waiting, there's only one thing to do. Right, so I've just run a load of foam down the edge of there, run some foam on the face of that, and then run some adhesive down that. So I'm just going to let that foam just do its thing for a minute or two, and then push it against it. And then hopefully the plan is, once that's all stuck, this foam will take any of the whip out of the board. Right, that's had a couple of minutes just to expand a bit, so let's get this on.
So I just want to try and, I just want to try and hammer that end back into there, so a little rough cut of MDF there, and we'll just give it a tap. And that will go, right.
While that foam's trying to expand and push this skirting out, I've just got these strips of wood, which lucky enough was sort of what come out of here. So I'm going to wedge them between the gripper, that's just perfect, and the skirting. So that's not going to let that move at all now. Right, so we've got all the foam doing its thing behind there. This wall has got a big bow in it in the middle. So this is why we're getting this little bit of gap here. I don't want to drill and fix anything in here because there's obviously damp coming through. I don't want it to start coming through the screws and rusting in time. So I just want to do this all with adhesive. So there's some little bits of wood. They was already there before. And lucky enough, they fit exactly back. So they're just wedging that from the gripper to the skirting so this foam can't push any of the bottom of the skirting out. So I've got them running along there. You can see the foam, it's pushing out now. So, and then the adhesive is biting to the wall at the top, which is all good. A little bit of filling there, which is no problem. And then obviously it's not going to move anywhere in that corner because it's pinched into the scribe. So a little bit of filling in there, but that's all right. No one's going to see that. That's gone in pretty much okay there. So yeah, so I can leave that to dry now and then start cutting the other end. Okay, that's that bit cut, so let's just, obviously I've tried this earlier, so that's all going to line up nice there. It's going to hit that corner nice. So once again, I've got a bit of foam down there. That's that all done. Joints come out nice. All into the corner. So I'm going to now cut this bit. Okay, so skirting's all on, so while that's drying, I gave that sand down. So that'll have some clear varnish on it once all this is painted. So I'm just looking at sort of drying times really. I'm going to give this a first go now with the brick acid. Try and clean that up. Got a little aquavac there to suck up all the water. Lucky enough it will stay contained in that little brick. Let's see how this performs then. It does say you can put it on neat for severe staining, and I'd sort of say that was severe. Oh wow, that's doing its thing already, that is. Blimey, that is coming up nice. Can you see it? Look. It's having a proper old fizz. Now, I would imagine a lot of this would come up okay with water anyway, but it's fizzing up nicely. I've had a couple of goes over with that, scrubbed it in with a brush, hoovered it up, done all that twice, let it soak in for a bit. So I think it looks better, so we'll see what it's like when it's dried. I don't think it's ever going to come up brilliant, but definitely seems to have taken all that scale off and a lot of them black marks, so should look a bit nice once it's dry. So all come together now in here. Skirtings have had a quick gloss. I've just run a load of sealant along the top. Got a little bit of filler to rub down in the corners. That corner come out okay, but it just needed a bit more filler. Obviously all the way down there. That's had a rub down, just needs a varnish tomorrow. All the walls have had another coat. Ceiling's had another coat. There's a little patch just drying up now. And then in this room, skirtings are all glossed. Proper gloss, you know, but you can't beat a bit of oil gloss, can you? Just if you undercoat and gloss, it's done then. That's all glossed. All done round here. I've glossed that as well. I think that gets probably a little bit of wear and tear. So it was already glossed, so I've just done it in gloss. Just ended the emulsion there and it glossed round to there. So tomorrow, this wall can have the wallpaper on it. So I'll have a good clear out tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be the last day. If not, it'll just be a bit of touching up on another visit, which will probably be Sunday. So yes, that should be dry enough by the morning to put a coat on. Other than that, I've had a good day in here today. All them little bits that start pulling it all together. Still bits and pieces everywhere, but that's it. I'll sort all that in the morning. It's 3:30. I've got another customer up the road who's had a knee operation, older couple, and they've asked me if I'd go and cut the grass. So that's me now. Gonna have my apple. Get on that lawnmower. See you tomorrow.